Now just wait a second. You don't have to redesign or rebuild your whole e-commerce website just to increase your conversion rates. I'm going to share with you a method that we use a lot that is great, yes, even for small businesses, and it's called design thinking. People have thought about design thinking in so many different ways, but at its core, design thinking is really creative problem solving that puts a heavy focus on the user or the customer. I'll try to explain the steps that we use in our consultancy, Relab, and it's the 6-step process. The first one is about understanding. So understand means you're trying to understand business goals. You got to think about the user behavior, the facts about the user, their pain points is a very important one, as well as their user needs. The next step is define. And define is where you set the premise, try to understand what the actual goal or the vision is. And this is where I would normally encourage people to take a sheet of paper. You would try and write down your challenge statement or your vision statement so everyone's aligned. The next step is ideate, and oftentimes people find this as the fun bit because this is where you get to sketch, come up with ideas, and really try to be creative and come up with a solution. The fourth step is about deciding. So this is where stakeholders, team members, or if you are by yourself, you yourself would decide on the best solution that you may have came up with in the previous step when you were ideating. And the next step is prototyping. This is where you would try and create a facade of your idea, whether it's through paper prototypes, clickable mocks, interactive prototypes. But the point is for you to be able to visualize your idea that you had on hand and make it look semi-real, that it's enough for the user testing session that's going to come up in the next step. And finally, validate. This is the moment of truth. This is where you show your user testers the idea or the hypothesis that you had on hand. This is where all of your hard work comes into at the end of the day for you to get honest feedback. And honest feedback is always the best way to start when you're trying to solve a problem for the users that you're serving for. Now that we understand the basic theory of design thinking, I'd like to take you through an example of a small business case study that has applied design thinking. So there's a small business that we work with that sells beautiful dog beds. When they first hired us, the underlying problem that they're trying to solve is really a better e-commerce website experience that will lead into better sales and better revenue online. So we first tried to understand the business problems as well as their user needs, and this is done through expert interviews, stakeholder interviews. And the next thing that we've done is tried to define what the long-term goal of the business and try to understand how can we help the users achieve their user goals. And then we start working together through an ideation session where us as designers will work with the business to co-design a solution or an idea that will allow us to move forward and go and test it and validate it against their real users who are pet owners. And at the end of the day, that moved forward to production confidently and launched into their website. And surprisingly, it increases sales tremendously. I think in this case, design thinking has been very helpful for this business because it allows them to systematically work through a problem and work collaboratively without having to forget about the most important thing at the end of the day, which is their customers. If there was one takeaway that I'd like you to have from this video, it's really about striving for learnings and progress, but not perfection. All you have to do is adapt with the customers, and their needs are evolving ever so rapidly that you always have to look back, reiterate, think about the idea, or even pivot sometimes. So design thinking is really a great tool to have for you to be able to do all of that in a nimble, flexible, and rapid way.